today we're going to be reviewing my top 5 favorite things about this bike. Mind you, I just picked up this bike maybe 3 weeks ago and it's been a blast. Starting off at number 1, we're definitely going to have to go with the looks. The look of this bike is insane. All the body lines flow together really well, and especially the headlights. I really like the headlights. The headlights look really good, as you guys can see. It has that nice intake scoop. Yeah, overall the looks of this bike looks really nice. The thing I like about the 2019 to 2020 model is it does have a facelift, which Yamaha did change the look of this bike tremendously, especially at the front. I'm so happy they went with it just because it looks really good. It doesn't look like an R3 surprisingly, but if you guys are bike enthusiasts or you guys know anything about bikes, you'll know it's an R3. But anybody that are not into bikes or see the bike, they really like the bike and they really like the color. And the thing about this, they think it's like the R6 or the R1 just because it doesn't look like a 300, which I really dig. Not saying I want to be like a 600 or R1, but I definitely like the way Yamaha, did the facelift. I definitely like the color combination too, with the Yamaha blue, with the black accents, and the orange fork. I think this flows together really well, and I think this is the best color combination for the 2019 model. They have a bunch more color combinations, but I decided to go with the blue just because the blue looks really good, and I think it flows together really well with the blue and the black and the orange forks. Even the gas tank looks really nice too, as you guys can see. Has a nice gas fuel door. The dash looks really good too. Yeah, man, overall this bike, they did a really good job on the Yamaha R3. Going into number 2, we're gonna have to talk about the handling on this bike. This bike handles really good for a 300. I was very surprised at first when I got on the bike. I thought it was going to be heavy, I thought it was going to be sloppy, but this bike handles really good. It's nice, it's not too big, and it's not too small. It handles nice on the road, and if you guys are going to like a track or you guys are going on back roads, it handles really good. I've took this bike on the back road a couple of times, trying to corner as much as possible, and this bike stays planted the whole time. And the R3 is one of the best handling bikes today if you guys are looking at 300s. From factory, they do come with Dunlops, as you guys can see. The tires are really good. The only thing about these tires is you do have to warm them up a little bit. So when you guys are going out for a ride, just make sure you guys go for a little spin just before you guys rock on the bike or you guys do any crazy cornering. But the handling on this bike is insane. I was surprised at first when I got it, and I couldn't be more happy. Handles really good. I wish I could show you guys right now, but I still need to get my GoPro setup going. But take my words, this bike handles really good. And surprisingly, the seat position is really good too. It's not too high, so for any female riders or short guys out there, this bike would be really good. You can flat foot it really easily. And if you guys still having problems with flat footing the bike, you guys could lower the bike, which it does come pretty lowered from factory. Going into number 3, the way this bike delivers its power band is extremely good, especially for a 300. It feels really good when you guys are romping on the bike. Even when you guys are cruising through the town, the bike feels really solid, and the power band is extremely linear. So there's not too much low end and there's not too much top end. It's pretty much even throughout the low end to the top end, which feels really good. I know different bikes have different power bands where you have a lot of low end, but then it drops off at the top end, and I know other bikes have a lot of top end but drops off at the low end. And I've had maxed this bike out to its top speed, and it rips. Even for a 300, it's pretty fast. And I know a lot of people talk shit about the 300 saying they're slow, but it's a really quick bike. It's not like a 600 or 1000, but it really rips. The power doesn't kick in until around 8,000 to 10,000 RPM, so anything below that, the bike will just be at its cruising speed. As you guys know, with bikes, there's a certain power band where you'll feel all that power kick in. It does go up to 13,000 RPMs, which is really cool. And yeah, the power band on this bike is really nice. I've raced a couple of cars doing pulls to the speed limit, of course, and this bike does keep up with those nice cars. I've done a couple pulls with BMWs, Mercedes, a couple Hondas, and this bike, surprisingly for the power and the weight ratio, it does keep up with most cars. I have rode with a couple 600s and 1000s, and surprisingly it does keep up with them in the lower RPMs, but as soon as you hit the top end, those bikes take off. But for a 300, you can't really complain about the power, especially on this bike. The power band is really good, and I think Yamaha did a really good job with the parallel twin. Going into number 4, we're gonna have to go with the way the bike feels, especially when you're riding it. The seat height is not too high, which is pretty good. I think it's about 31 inches if I'm not mistaken, which is nice if you guys are on the shorter side, or if there's any female riders out there that are also short. This will be a nice bike just because you guys can flat foot the bike really easily. The way the handlebars is really nice. When you guys are sitting on the bike actually feels really good. It's not too aggressive compared to a 600 or 1000, but you guys do have that nice, straight lean, which feels pretty good on the bike. After a while, it does get kind of uncomfortable. I rode this bike for an hour straight, and around the 45-minute mark to 40 minutes, it does feel uncomfortable. But overall, the bike feels really good, especially when you're riding it. And last but not least, my top 5 favorite thing about this bike is definitely the sound. The bike sounds really nice, especially for a 300. I do have a stock exhaust on the bike, but even the stock exhaust alone sounds really nice. It's pretty loud when you guys are romping on the bike. The thing I like about this bike, especially when you're ripping on the bike at higher RPMs, it has that nice traditional Yamaha scream that you would hear on the 600 or 1000. A little disclaimer, it doesn't sound like a 600 or 1000, but it definitely has that nice purr and scream. Alright, so from those past couple rips, as you guys can see, the bike sounds really good. I think it sounds really good in my personal opinion. I still have to get an aftermarket exhaust, but the stock exhaust does for now. It's pretty loud and it sounds really good. Obviously, I can't really, rip the bike too far and too long just because the strip is pretty short, but the bike sounds really good. But this is the end of the video. My camera's about to die. Those are my top 5 favorite things about the bike. If you guys own a Yamaha R3 or you guys are thinking about getting one, let me know what you guys think is the top 5 things on this bike that you like about it. And if you guys already own one, let me know what you guys think are your favorite top 5 things about the bike. But today was just going around the bike and seeing what I liked about it. And personally, there's nothing that I dislike about the bike. Obviously, I wish it was a 600 or R1, but I'm a beginner rider and I'm starting out on a smaller bike just so I can develop some skills, get comfortable with the bike, and then in the future we can upgrade to an R6 or R1. But for now, the R3 does justice and I really like this bike. And if you guys are thinking about grabbing this bike, I would definitely recommend this bike just because of how driver friendly it is and how forgiving it is. There's a couple times where I had a couple close calls where I had to come to a complete stop. Thankfully I have ABS, so it stops me from skidding, or it limits me from skidding. Also has your dash, has your gear indicator, has the gas light. So obviously if you guys are a new rider, all these things are new to you, but I would definitely recommend the Yamaha R3 just because of how driver friendly it is and how comfortable it feels. This bike is a great bike and I think Yamaha did a great job. But this is the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up and I'll see you guys in the next one. Sleeping until the midnight.